There being 5 members of the Conservation Commission present, namely me, Peter Crane, Jared Gentilucci, Skip Clark, Bill Kennan, and Melissa Danza, I declare there to be a quorum, and I will open this meeting of the Conservation Commission on August 4th. Oh my goodness, who would have thought? Welcome one and all. I'm going to waive the reading of the really long and obnoxious remote viewing or remote meeting announcement. I'll just say I try to run a reasonably tight ship. Please, if you want to speak, ask the chair's permission to do so. We tried to be completely polite and not interrupt someone who is speaking. But other than that, we're fine. We do all roll call votes as is required when people are not completely present. Let us begin. Now, of course, this being me, I'm going to take things out of order, but we will begin with meeting minutes. So, has everyone read the July 21 meeting minutes that Tamika sent out?
Motion to accept as written.
I'll second.
Melissa seconds. Awesome. Discussion, corrections, wisecracks, jokes, stand-up routines. All right. All in favor. Cannon. Oh, Mr. Cannon.
Hi. Hello.
There we are. Danza.
Yes.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Okay, I am going to take things out of order, specifically because this is our first meeting after the board has been reconstituted by the select board. So I would like very much to begin tonight's formal business by doing board reorganization. So let's start at the top and work our way down. Looking for a motion for chair.
I make a motion that Peter Crane is for chair. I'll second.
We have a second. Let's see. I don't remember if we're supposed to take a vote now or seek other nominations. This is one of those weirdo.
You can do it either way, Peter.
You know what? I'll ask for other nominations. Make it easy.
No.
Oh,
Does that work?
That works for me.
Okay.
So roll call vote. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Okay, so I guess I'm staying in the job. You haven't kicked me out yet. More power. So, for the past year, Joe has been our vice chair, and we know that he has been ill and has not always made these meetings. So I would like very much for a different vice chair, please. Now, to make it simple, for those who don't know, vice chair really is being aware of things like the chair is, and being that running the meetings when the chair isn't available for either hold meetings or anywhere where I recuse myself. The vice chair doesn't have to do the checks anymore because Tamika's taking care of that for us. Thank you, Tamika.
You're welcome.
So it also means sometimes being the public face of Concom because you get phone calls and emails and such. So I will accept nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Skip Clark. Did you get that, Peter?
I got you. Thanks, Bill. Do we have a second? People may have heard that microphone near you, Skip.
So I decline anyway.
Okay, we have a declination.
I would like to,
Coward.
I would like to ask if there's anybody who wants to volunteer for the job first before we put somebody in there that. Can we do that?
We absolutely can do that. Let me also say one other thing. There is a titular position that we normally don't fill, but of clerk.
Yep.
We do have an administrator, thanks to Tamika, but there can be a formal position. And the reason I'd like to fill the clerk's slot also is that I want to give 3 levels of people, 2 levels of people not being available and still have a meeting. So would anybody like to volunteer for either of those 2 positions?
I'll do whatever you need me to do.
No,
I nominate Melissa.
For which slot?
Both jobs.
I'm not sure that works well, Bill.
No, for co-chair.
For co-chair / vice chair. Well, actually, Bill's made the motion, so let's let him fill it out.
Okay, for vice chair.
There we go.
I seconded it.
And we have a second. Other nominations? Other
Peter, I
discussion?
apologize. I missed who the second was.
Skip.
Skip, thank you.
Hearing none. Roll call vote. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Can't fool me. That's aye. Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane. Aye. Okay. And let's just fill the clerk slot.
I nominate Jerry.
We have a nomination for Jared Gentilucci.
I'll second it.
Yes, everybody who doesn't want to take that slot is now seconding like crazy. I understand. Other nominations or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane, aye. Okay, we filled our slots. Awesome.
Go team!
That's right. So I'm now going to take us back to our usual or agenda. That's the word I'm looking for. So first on our list is a request for determination of applicability from Timothy Graham at 18 Fernwood Drive. Now, before I go any further, I have to check my email to see if I have this form. Get rid of that. There we go. And that hopefully comes up. Ooh, awesome. This will be interesting. So a couple of rotate rights. All right. So Tim, I'm going to unmute you as soon as I can figure out how to get my mouse over there. So you have joined the conversation. To refresh everyone's memory on this from last time, this came up because of a building permit for a shed. And as it turns out, the location of the shed is just inside the 50 feet, which is the distance from wetlands for an accessory structure, and when filing needs to be done. And our discussion at last meeting was an RDA was entirely acceptable and appropriate for this for this action. So having just received this, I will admit I have not read it. So I'm gonna have to get rid of this window. So these are the questions we need to answer, of course. which are all, okay, to place a pre-built 10 by 12 shed at the end of its driveway. When places to put the shed, I can agree with that based on the maps I've seen, and the property due to an easement and property lines. Yep. And there certainly is hardship were he not able to put it where he puts it. I don't think there's a lot of question. So Tim, do you have anything you want to add to this form?
Jake Heckler just backed up the road. I just saw that. I think there's a tree down.
Is this no longer Tim on the phone?
Hello? Hello?
Yep, hello.
Oh, I was muted. I was still muted. So I unmuted myself. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. I must have unmuted the wrong person and labeled the wrong person on top of that. Awesome. So let's try again. So Tim, do you have anything you'd like to add to this submission?
I do not.
Okay. Does the commission have questions or comments about this? We looked at the overhead map last time. We saw where it's going to go. I don't have anything. Melissa, do you have anything? I'd see you just unmuted yourself.
Yeah, Tim, I can't remember. Are you doing any grading for this? Or are you literally just kind of slapping it down?
There was an existing wall that we had spoke about last time that
Right.
wasn't in very good condition, so I had it removed and had a new wall put up,
Mm-hmm.
a block retaining wall to replace the existing one, and it's a little bit bigger than it was. But other than that, no.
Okay, so the shed isn't going on any sort of foundation or anything?
No, it's just going to be on 3/4 inch stone with 3/8 stone on top of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the commission? I will open up to the public. Anyone in the public have any questions about this? Or comments? Hearing none. So let me just back up to the questions we need to identify so we can make sure that we answer them correctly. Okay. Whether the area depicted on plans or maps reference is an area subject to jurisdiction. I think that we found that this is an area subject to jurisdiction, right?
Right.
And whether the work depicted is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, and whether the area or work depicted on plans referenced below is subject to the jurisdiction of any Okay, good news. D is not a problem. We do not have a municipal wetlands bylaw. So is the work, which is the rebuilding of the wall and the placing of the shed on the stone, subject to the WPA?
So I would move that we issue a negative determination that the work is within the buffer zone and therefore, and will not, whatever the wording is, but it will not impact areas subject to the act.
I'm all for that with the work that's been described here.
Peter, I think if you scroll down, I think I forget what section it is. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it's on.
No, it's not on this form.
It's not on.
Response
It's on
form.
the DOA form. That's right.
Yeah. Like C or D. Yeah, it's the equivalent to the work one, but it's in the buffer zone and not a resource area.
Right. All right, so we have a motion.
I will second that motion.
Jared seconds.
Oh, Peter, hold on. Can somebody add in authorization for you to sign?
And Peter to sign on our behalf.
Second that too.
Okay. Other discussion? All right, roll call vote for a negative determination. Cannon,
I have to abstain. I'm the neighbor.
you're all right. Denza,
Aye.
Gentilucci,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Crane, aye. 4 ayes, motion carries. All righty, then so Tim, we will get all the paperwork done and back to you as soon as we can. I just have
Tim,
to.
I'll just send it to you in the mail, Tim. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And then you're set to go, and hopefully we're not too late.
No, we're good. Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
One down. Yes. Hello? Nope. Okay. The joys of internet meetings. There's the agenda. So I will now open a hearing for notice of intent for Cleland and Nancy Blair on Finn Park Road. Tamika, do we have all the paperwork, everything that we need?
Yes, we do.
And do we even have all the money we're supposed to get?
Yes, we do.
Wow, great. Let's move forward. I expected to see Julian here, but I don't see him.
Excuse me, the chair.
Yes.
Is there a DEP file number yet? I don't believe there is.
Oh, no, there's no number issued. We just received the fees and the submission.
Right, so our intent is to open the hearing and continue it until we actually get the DEP number.
Okay.
So we'll open it, have a discussion as much as we can, but without an applicant here, I don't know how much we can discuss. I will bring up, this is the plan as submitted. So Demond Pond is here, Finn Park Road is here, here's the house, here is septic, obviously, so the house is entirely in the 100. Oh, I see. Now that's interesting. This is within 100 feet. This septic is within the 100 feet of another well. And this other well radius also impinges a little bit. Now, that's a matter for the Board of Health, not a matter for Concom. I find that very interesting. I also believe that this whole site is Zone A.
Yes.
And if the whole site is Zone A, how can you have any septic in here at all? Unless the lot's old enough. And I don't know that.
If you're looking at the details on the plan, the leach field cross section where the pipes and the stone is,
Yep.
It appears those are just barely outside that 100-foot offset from the wells. You have to zoom way in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
pretty tight. Again, not necessarily something for us.
yeah.
That's
See,
Board of
that
Health.
looks like he's bumping up against the pipe.
It's probably about 100 feet and an inch. Although the one on the other side is just the reserve trench, not the actual trench.
True.
So the second trench is a little bit over 100 feet.
Oof.
But again, not necessarily in our jurisdiction.
Right. So, look, if I zoom out again for just a minute. Where?
Now you can speak. Now you can speak. Now they can hear everything you say. Just speak. You're on mute. Just speak. Oh.
So I'm wondering, this must be Is this, where is my cursor? Is this the driveway?
I think so, yes.
Just basically a landing pad. I mean, it's okay because I'll bet, yeah, because if you look at the slope of the land, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
And actually, now that I think about it, that's pretty common on Finn Park.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I said, there isn't a lot we can discuss without the applicant or his rep being here, but I will be happy. Let's start with the commission. Any questions or comments from anyone on the commission?
I have, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just had a couple of comments, Peter, in reviewing the plans. One is the erosion control line down near the edge of the pond. It does look like it's fairly close to the pond. So,
Yes.
my first question for the applicant was going to be, is it possible to pull that line up? Can we possibly get a 25-foot no disturb buffer from the edge of the pond up to the edge of work? And my second question relates to erosion controls again, is on their detail, they have staked wattles, but no silt fence. I think I know it's not a large lot, but there's going to be a lot of regrading on this lot.
Yeah.
And there are some relatively steep slopes. I think I would recommend or would want to see silt fence along with the wattles. I think that would help to protect the resource area.
Tamika, I would like to make sure that you get the questions, get all these questions and comments written down so that we can bring them back in case the person who asks or comments is not available at the next meeting, to which we are certain to continue this.
Absolutely. I'm writing everything down.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Jeff, I do see your hand raised, but I'm going to go through the commission first. Skip.
So the Board of Health, shouldn't the Board of Health sign off on this before we even look at it? My opinion.
The Board of Health's review and acceptance of the septic plan does need to be done before the building has to begin.
Okay.
I don't think there's any priority or precedence between the two,
All right.
between the permit and our orders. So long as they are both done before the building permit's issued, there isn't a problem.
Okay.
Peter, I'm not sure if it has any relevance to the commission, but just to note that the building permit was denied at this time because it did not meet setback and frontage requirements.
Ah, okay.
Yep. So I was just given a heads up about that it may end up coming before the Board of Appeals for a variance, but I have not heard anything from the applicants as of this time.
Thank you, Tamika. That is good to know. I don't remember seeing this building permit, but maybe it was denied before I would get to it because I don't look at these every day. So again, it's up to that Board of Health to see if this is acceptable. I'm going to try and kind of limit us to wetlandish concerns on this. Melissa, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I think I agree with Jared about the erosion controls. I'd really like to see something kind of beefed up on that. It seems kind of, it's obviously very close, and I don't think a wattle would be nearly enough. And I think I'd also like to see kind of the amount of disturbance in the buffer zone. It kind of almost feels like this whole lot is going to be cleared. So I think I'd also kind of like some sort of mitigation for that, whether it's terms of plantings or if there's any specific trees that can be kept. I think that should be noted on the plan. So I think whether it's just square footage, total impacts would be nice to have on here. And then also just kind of looking through the general construction notes, they talk about modifications, need to be pre-approved by the Board of Health, but I'd also like Concom to be in there as well, just to kind of cover basis on that front. But I think I'm really focused on kind of the mitigation on terms of, I guess, habitat and just general flora, fauna, and then if they also could do any sort of storm water runoff in terms of whether it's rooftop drainage or something else.
Yep. Good catch. Anything else? Mr. Cannon?
I'm in agreement.
Okay. The questions I would like to ask have to do with what is planned to do. I say he, the applicant plans to do down near the water. There's nothing actually laid out here. I don't know if they plan to resand, what their plans are to know what to expect and what to require for beefed up erosion controls, first of all, because if they're going to put in more sand, that's more detritus than get into the water. Okay, I am actually going to start with Jennifer McGinnis, who is from DCR, and I'd like very much to get her opinion on this, please. So please take it away, Jen.
DCR would like the applicant to file for a determination with us for the lot. We hadn't seen the project before us at this time.
Ah, okay.
And then we would be able to make better comments. Also, more of a Title V thing, but they're setbacks to a tributary to a drinking water source have different setbacks that at this time I'm not sure if the project would meet those setbacks. But it's more of a Title V thing, but there's a specific setback to tributaries to drinking water.
Okay.
Okay. So if you can get the word out to the applicant to file with us, that'd be great.
I think we can do that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So I will now open this to the public. The first person I see is Karen Schmidt. And so please, Ms. Schmidt, you are on the air. You're live with us.
Hi, am I coming through?
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Good evening. I'm actually very glad that Jennifer McGinnis was there, because one of my questions was if anything has been filed with the DCR. I was concerned about that. I know there's some strict laws and rules that they have to go by. I know my father had done something a while back in the Metropolitan District Commission. They needed to go through that as well. And I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. I am a land abutter. I am probably 2 or 3 properties away from this. I know it's an extremely small lot. And I guess my other question was, I had been told a while back, and I know some of the neighbors as well have mentioned this, I thought there was some rule that you could only build within so many feet or whatever of the lakefront unless if there was an existing foundation there, which there is not, if I'm correct. So I wasn't sure where that stood, if that rule was still in play, or if, where that stood. I'm not that familiar. This kind of was brought on, I got a letter a few days ago, a certified mail. So I wasn't sure what was going on with this whole issue. I just was curious to see tonight what was happening, because I really don't have that much background on this. But I did want to know where that stood as far as the existing foundation is. And I was curious about the paperwork being filed with DCR, because I know that that can be something that is of, interest. So does anyone know anything about that as far as existing foundations?
Well, we don't. I see no indication that there is an existing foundation. However, we need to do a little research to determine what rules this lot apply to this lot. If a lot is created before the Wetlands Protection Act was enacted by the Mass Legislature and all of the rules that go with it, then it is exempt from all of those rules. If not, and in fact, we don't even get to be, the Conservation Commission don't get to be involved, because it's exempt from all the laws. The fact that they filed suggests strongly to me that they are under the Wetland Protection Act, the law and the regulations, and it doesn't mean that you can't do work in that area. It means that that they need to go through a process to demonstrate to us how they are protecting the wetlands, so the wetlands will not be harmed by the project.
Okay, it's just an extremely small lot. I'm surprised that they're trying to put something, that big into it. And I was just curious about the septic as well. So, okay. I just wanted to get some clarification. I just wasn't sure, as I said, you know, about the DCR and things of that matter as well, because I know that can be a concern. So I just want to know what was being followed as far as those rules went.
Right. So as Ms. McGinnis did say, they are they're looking for a filing themselves, and we will, as I committed, we will reach out to the applicant to urge that filing as soon as possible so that DCR can give their comments as well.
Excuse me for interrupting, Peter. Karen, can I just get your address for the record?
My home address is 1534 Deer Path Circle, and that is in Warrington, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So your lot vacation home?
It's, well, kind of like that, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Don't mind me. I'm just being nosy. I've
been living here my entire life. Since I've been a baby. So I've, you know, it's a family house we've had. So
sure.
Yeah, way back.
Okay. Jeff, your hand was up earlier. Would you?
It was.
Oh. I think. There, try again.
Trouble with the clicker.
Yeah, I think you and I are muting and unmuting at the same instant.
There you go. Good evening. Welcome, and thank you for having me, Jeff Stillings, Lord Lane, and also a member of the Select Board. I am here at the Sportsman's Club with a constituent who abuts this property, had some questions, also some technical needs to set up this Zoom here. So happy to assist and turn it over to Mr. Todd Coppola, who does abut that property to the right. Prior to that, I did have a couple of questions. I had previously attended a ZBA meeting, and this one sounds very familiar. Was this the same property that had a hearing before the Rutland ZBA? Zoning Board of Appeals, do you recall? Does anyone recall?
Yes, no, it was not. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but it was a different lot. The other one was actually, I think, 2 lots that they were trying to combine to put a house onto.
Okay.
I could look back in my records to find out, but it was not Mr. and Mrs. Blair.
It just sounded very familiar. But the primary reason for Mr. Coppola coming forward today, being in a butter, is he enjoys private drinking water from a private well on his property, which is located real close to the property line. It's his understanding that the proposed septic system would lie within 35 feet of his drinking water. Wanted to confirm that and then see if you knew of the regulation. What is the regulation for installing a septic system to an existing drinking water source?
It is my recollection, and this is my recollections, but it's going to be confirmed by the lines that he drew, that the restriction was lowered from 110 feet to 100 feet between distance between the septic system and an existing well. So this line, if you can see my screen, is 100 feet from what I imagine Mr. Coppola's well is located. That is the whole purpose of this line, to show the Board of Health folks that it is far enough away.
So, okay. So what we would do, I would refer to Mr. Coppola to speak on that. It's my understanding that that's not the case. We were cited 35 feet from there. So, Todd, are you in a position to unmute and speak?
Yes, I am. Hello, I'm Todd Coppola, 42 Finn Park Road. Judging from what I'm looking at on the screen, my existing well, which was dug in 1940, is approximately where that figure 980 is on the map there.
Can
you see that?
Right about here?
It's down low. No, the other one, the other 980, down low.
That's 84.
Keep going.
It's going to be
Right by the retaining wall.
right here.
Got it. That's basically where my well is. So I have concerns with that retaining wall and also where the septic is going to be located.
Oh, now that's a very interesting thing, Mr. Coppola, because I suspect, looking at this, that this is 100 feet from this well. And that is where, yeah, that's on the property beyond yours with respect to the application.
Oh, I see, yes.
So that
is my neighbor's well.
Yes, so this would be, if your well is here, he has
Correct.
a whole other problem that the applicant needs to solve.
That is correct. And my issue also is I didn't realize there was going to be a retaining wall. Now, my well is a shell well, fieldstone. So I have issues with my water purity and stuff if something goes wrong. And also, I have an issue with the construction of the house and septic, if it will affect my well by heavy machinery being around it, because it is a fieldstone well. And what do I do if something happens to that well?
I'm not trying to dodge a bullet here, but this is honestly entirely within the Board of Health's realm of control and not at all in the Conservation Commission. So,
okay.
So this is not formal advice because I don't know enough to give you formal advice. But what the kinds of things I would do in advance would be to do a test of the well, but for both its rate of production and whatever they call it when it reloads. When you take water out, how quickly it reloads. Recovery, thank you. And the other one is an actual water quality test. Because if anything happens, it's going to show up in one of those two places. And if you have documentary evidence, it feels to me that gives you a baseline of information. So should something change, I don't know what the right course of action would be, but at least you have documentation to say, this is what happened to my well, and it is reasonable to believe it's because of this property or this construction. But as I say,
definition.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the Board of Health's regs. I only have kind of ideas on the kinds of things that wells do beyond providing, like you, drinking water. But I also think it is worthwhile getting, I don't know if you have contact with the applicant or Mr. Vortruba, who's doing the wetlands work, because your well should have been on this map.
That is correct. And
the fact that it's not is disturbing. Concerning, I
yes. Well, here I have from the Rutland Board of Health the definition of a well. And it says that any private water source, whether a drill, casing, pipe, pit, that supplies potable or non-potable water to a property is considered a well. Mm-hmm. So whether I wash dishes, I cook with this water and have since I was a kid.
Sure.
So I don't see why I have to get it tested because it is a well.
Oh, no. To me, I would not go through the work I said just to say it's a well. I think we can accept that it's a well. I'm suggesting documenting actual performance of the well, so that should something change, you can measure it.
I see. I see what you're saying. Okay, yep, that seems reasonable. I'm just going to give you a little bit of history about that lot, if I may.
Sure.
That was purchased, that lot and the one I live on was purchased by my grandfather, Sven, years ago, of course. My father acquired land, and the property in question was owned by Walter Coppola, my uncle. I can assure you there's never been a foundation on that because I used to mow that lot. Walter, however, he applied for a building permit to put a summer residence on that and was denied, I would say 40 years ago or 45 years ago. Was allowed, however, to put a boathouse or a storage building so he could park his boat in there and any equipment that goes with that and have a dock on the shore. However, he passed before he was able to do that. Then, of course, eventually it went through cousins and stuff, and Cleland, Blair, ended up with the lot. It has always been considered unbuildable because of what my Uncle Walter had gone through. So that's why this is very surprising to me and disturbing that he can actually fit what he's proposing onto that small lot. I have old maps and stuff, but anyways, that's the history of that spot. There's never been a building on there.
The only thing I can say is that the requirements for building do evolve over time, and I have seen several lots in town in my time in the Concom that at one time absolutely would not have been allowed that suddenly are, because frankly a lot of things change in the land over time and the regulations change. The lot sizes change, you know, for zoning requirements, the setbacks can change. There are conditions that can change. I can't speak to any previous attempt to make this buildable. I have to limit myself to the application that is in front of us today. I do thank you for your information. It's actually good information for us. And I don't want to make it sound as though we're going to completely ignore it. We are not. But our problem for this entire hearing will be to determine whether or not, from a wetlands safety and security point of view, that this project can be completed without, damage or correction.
I see. Well, at least you know where my well exists, basically. So you know there is another well besides what was. I was wondering why that arc going through the septic issue was that shape and not shaped from where my well was.
But thanks to your comment, I know there's yet another well missing, because there's no well demarked on the other abutter.
Yes.
And
however, I believe.
Go ahead.
I believe there is a small foundation on that lot that is very grown in. I have no idea if there was ever a building on it or not, but there is some stone structure on that lot. So there may also be a well there somewhere.
Yeah, there may be. Applicant will need to determine that.
Right.
Although well, it won't be an active well, so I don't know. Right. I'll let someone tell me the most right thing to do for that.
Okay.
But no,
well, thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Mr. Stillings, I see your hand up. I'll let you go. Your hand was up first, so I'll let you go next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The document in front of us, can I ask who submitted that document or created this document?
This would have been New England Environmental Design, I believe, but let me go all the way to the corner to be certain.
Yes,
Would
that's
that-
correct.
Is that the applicant?
No, the applicant is the Blairs. They hired New England Environmental Design to manage the septic design and the Wetlands Protection Act filings. And perhaps other work as well, I don't know.
Is it a reasonable oversight that they failed to include the wells of the two land abutters?
As I say, it is a point of concern, and we will be having a discussion about that.
I mean, if they're submitting it for an official hearing, one would deduce that the abutters would drink water. And if it's not mentioned, and they're submitting a chart that's showing a 100 radius for a well that is 2 properties over, I would just ask that you take that into consideration for veracity issues.
Oh, have no fear. We will consider that. And we will look for an amended plan. I will expect to see one based upon, if nothing else, just based upon the missing well, because that's.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, that's a concern, and if you could follow up with me on that issue, I would appreciate that. And lastly, on the Board of Health issue with the distance between the septic system, someone's sewage, and the drinking water, does the Board of Health, or can we ensure that the Board of Health has visibility on this particular application?
That is what the viewpoint system does.
Okay.
The viewpoint system won't allow the building permit until the Board of Health approves the plan.
Okay. But, okay, thank you. We just make sure that somebody at the Board of Health knows the discrepancies in the proposed chart and the testimony by Mr. Coppola today of the location of his well at number 984.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Schmidt, please.
No, it's Ms. McGinnis.
Oh, Ms. McGinnis, I'm sorry.
Okay.
See, I saw Ms. Schmidt had her hand raised. I wasn't actually paying attention to the microphone.
I'm sorry, I didn't hand raise, and I apologize for.
No, that's fine. Please.
I'm just going to jump in and say that the Board of Health should also be holding a hearing similar to the Conservation Commission on the lot. So, just for your last speaker.
Oh, thank you.
Fine.
I am in fact entirely unaware of their process, which is not a great place for me to be right now. But thank you. Yes, I'll make sure that they. I will make sure that they have a proper plan with the proper notations on them.
Peter, if it's amenable to everybody, I can reach out to the health agent and to Lynn just to get an idea of, how much they know about this project.
Sure.
Because I don't know how far it actually got once the building permit was denied initially.
Right.
So I'm happy to reach out and then, provide a little bit of follow-up to see if everybody's in the same boat.
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So here we are. Ms. Schmidt, I'm sorry I skipped over.
No.
There are things that are happening, but please, it's your turn. Go ahead.
No problem. I just had another quick question. I don't know if has thought been given, considering the small size of the property, to things as far as the relation of the percentage of impervious square footage to the total square footage of the lot, and the intent to build, considering the house and the parking space, how much that's going to take away as far as erosion and things like that go?
There are elements of that. I don't think there's a SWIP with this because it's too small. A SWIP is a stormwater plan that deals specifically with runoff. But this, Ms. Danza already mentioned the desire to understand how they're going to manage runoff. So
that's a concern too, because I know the lot's very steep too. So I didn't know if that also came under the DCR and stuff like that with Ms. McGinnis. I don't know if that is all taken into consideration. I'm not sure how all that all comes together as one big puzzle.
Once we get an application sent to us, we will be reviewing it in full. So.
Okay.
But just to answer your question, a SWIP is only required if it's an acre or more disturbance. So.
Right, and I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's an acre of disturbance here. I don't think the lot's an acre. Oh no, the lot is the lot is 1/1800ths of an acre plus or minus.
Right. Yeah,
so,
I just erosion can be bad in that area. So okay, thank you.
Right. So I mean the impervious is basically going to be the roof of the house and this landing pad parking zone. That's going to be really the impervious area. And it does make up a percentage of the lot. There's no question. And so we'll look into it to see what they plan to do, where they think the water is going to go and how it's going to get there. Those are the kinds of questions we will ask, because that is, at the end of the day, stormwater always goes to wetlands 100% of the time, and that makes it a Conservation Commission jurisdictional issue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions from the public? Oh, I see a hand. I see a Lynn's. Please, well, let me find the right thing and do this.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Hi, this is Lindsay Gwither. I'm at 34 Glenwood Road. I've spent the last 38 summers at Finn Park, and I'm a lifetime friend of Demon Pond. I think there's been a lot of good questions this evening. I just wanted to take the opportunity to put on record my concerns of this development proposal being environmentally adverse and unsound. As we've seen, this property is situated on a notable slope, and it does lead down to a very shallow and fragile cove in the pond. So there are numerous concerns in relation to the wetlands and the building within the 100 buffer zone of the wetlands. A concern of the water pollution and runoff into our Great Pond, which is part of the Ware River watershed, leading to the Quabbin Reservoir, putting an increased risk to the clean water supply, drinking water supply. There are concerns of erosion to the existing very loose and sandy soils that make up the composition of the lot and adjacent lots. And it is a steep grade from the road to the shore. I have concerns about irreversible harm to wildlife. There are breeding native turtles on this lot that traverse over and lay their eggs upon the property. I have concerns that the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Blair, do have an environmental history with the pond on their Maple Springs property, where they are found to have destroyed areas and ordered by the Commonwealth to restore it. And tangentially, maybe not directly to this property, but as for those who know, Finn Park Road is a private, pretty poorly kept single lane dirt road with high vulnerability to and currently suffers from a lot of erosion and runoff into the pond itself. So I do have concerns that developing a single family house here will add to the traffic load just from the construction, utilities, couriers, trash collection, just everyday commuting traffic. And that will further harm the delicate state of this road in the general area. So I just wanted to put that on the record that personally I'm strongly against the development of this property into a single family house as proposed because of all the concerns to the damages to the wetlands that will occur.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. We do appreciate it. Melissa, have you read the full NOI yet? I know I have not.
I've skimmed through it. I focused a lot more on the plan and just kind of the narrative for right now.
Right. I only asked because I was wondering if they had anything about wildlife in their NOI.
No, not that I remember. I think it was very, just kind of the NOI form. I'm just kind of scrolling quickly through it. Yeah, it was the basics. So there was no kind of like wildlife assessment.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Schmidt, I see your hand again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just have one more quick question. Since I'm not local, I mean, I'm there a lot during the summer, but I'm not there year round. Is there any way that I can get follow-up information on what's going to be happening on this? Is there some particular place I can go or ask for communication that I would be able to be updated?
It is not usual for us to update individual people.
Okay.
We do post everything on our website.
Okay.
So if you were to go to townofrutland.org and
right,
boards and commissions, and you find the Conservation Commission, on that page is a list of the projects that we have hearings on.
Correct.
And so you should be able to find updates to the plans and the documentation and any other information that the applicant gives us that makes sense to post publicly.
Okay.
Karen, to add to that, anything that takes place in the meeting, I put down in the minutes, and then once the board approves them, those minutes get posted on the town website. So there's usually a couple weeks delay, like tonight's minutes won't be approved until 2 weeks from now.
Right.
But I really stay on top of getting them up there. But if you have like a specific question and you want to shoot me an email, my email address is on the Conservation Commission page. I'm happy to provide you an update if I have one for you.
Okay, thank you very, very much. I truly appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
All righty. Anyone else from the public tonight? Going once. Going twice. I'm going to wrap it up once more by asking the commission if anyone on the commission has any other comments or questions that we want to write down for our next meeting, which will hopefully have an applicant. Hearing nothing, I will take a motion to continue. Yes?
Peter, I did have one thing real
yes.
quick. I'm just checking through. I have skimmed through the NOI as well. And one thing just to make note of, this may not have much impact at all. I believe they noted in the NOI that the project site is not within an outstanding resource water, but I believe it is. I'm just checking that. Give me 1 second. Yeah, they marked under section C item 5 that it is not within an outstanding resource water, but I checked through GIS and it is.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Okay, more to discuss. And more to consider as we get to it. So I would like, please, a motion to continue this hearing until August 18th.
So moved.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Roll call vote. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza. Did we lose Melissa?
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Melissa just texted me her internet went down, so we lost her.
Oh.
She's trying to get back.
That's too bad. Okay. Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane, aye. It's still 4, so the motion still carries. Thankfully, we still have quorum. Mr. Stillings, I see your hand. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Wasn't this the hearing?
This is the beginning of the hearing. The hearing can only be closed after we get sufficient information to render a decision. So we are continuing the hearing to the next meeting, where we will hopefully collect more information. We also cannot close the hearing once it's open until the DEP issues a number. There's a DEP number they have to issue to any work that goes on in or near the wetlands, and the DEP has not issued a number, so we cannot close the hearing.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
So there will be discussions like this at the next meeting, and perhaps the one following, and maybe the one. I mean, I don't know how long they'll go on, but they'll go on until the commission has enough information to render a decision. Okay. That is Finn Park Road. What's next on our agenda? Oh, that closes that one entirely. What's next? Hey, I'm going to reopen. By the way, this is what you're going to hear for anyone who sticks around. You're welcome to stick around. I'm not trying to kick anybody out. We're going to reopen a number of hearings that had to be continued. So that's what we're about to start doing. So I will reopen the hearing for the notice of intent for the Ruse Bassans at Lot 4 Glenwood Place. Does this one have a DEP number yet?
Yes, it does.
Woohoo! That's one.
Yep.
I think we've got 4 of these coming up. So we have the DEP. Were there other outstanding questions on this project? I don't believe so, but I would love to hear from the commission to see if my memory is anything close to correct. I hear no outstanding questions.
No, not that I can remember.
Okay. Was there anything to discuss about special conditions for this one? I don't remember any based on the location. It's just barely within the buffer, if I remember right, and only on. I might be right that it's only on a corner of one. Well, maybe not though. Anyway,
I don't have anything in my notes, Peter, for special conditions for this one.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So I would like, please, to get a motion to close this hearing. Actually, I'm going to give it one more count of 5 in my head for anyone else to ask a question. Hearing none, I'd like to get a motion to close, please.
Make a motion to close.
Second.
And a second. Great. Roll call. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane. Aye. Melissa, this is a little anti-formal, but I'll ask it anyway. We had while you were missing, we did a motion to continue the Blair Finn Park Road. Would you like to go on record as a yay or nay for the continuation?
Yeah, sure. Yay. I lost internet, just for the record.
Yeah. Happy days. We love these. All right. Like to continue or reopen the notice of intent for Bryce Estates 44 Woodside Ave. Do we have a DEP number?
Yes, we do.
Do we have any other questions or comments from the commission? Any questions or comments from the public? I will accept a motion to close. Oh, wait. Do we have any notes about special conditions for this lot, for 44 Woodside?
I do not.
My count to 5 is done. Make a motion to close.
So moved.
You have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Roll call. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane. Aye. Wow, we're getting through these. Awesome. I love it when our list gets shorter, not longer. Going to continue the notice of intent for Bryce Estates 48 Woodside Ave. Do we have a DEP number?
Yes, we do.
Yay. Do we have any notes about special orders?
We do not.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Questions or comments from the public? I will take a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion in the second. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Crane. Aye. That carries 2. Now I'm going to reopen the hearing for the notice of intent for Blair Development at 0 Maple Ave, lots 3 and 4. Do we have a DEP number? No, we do not.
No, we do not. And I had mentioned this in my email. I do not think that this was filed properly because it doesn't even show up in the system. And it's probably something Julian should look into. Otherwise, we'll probably just keep continuing it until the end of time.
Well,
I don't think it's in their system.
this is from July 21. As part of our communications with Julian about Finn Park, we should mention this explicitly.
Okay, I'm pretty sure this has been continued, I want to say since May. I think May 5th was the original submission.
This says continued from July 21, but you're right, that's much too early.
Yeah, I usually write down from the previous meeting that it was continued from, but the original submission was May 5th, and I know I mentioned it to him before, and he said that they were just taking a long time, but like I said, when I go on the DEP website, you can see the project even though the number hasn't been issued yet,
Right.
And there is no sign of this project.
Okay. Ding. Sure.
Sorry, that was me. I didn't hit mute fast enough.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so Tamika, I'd like to change the convention so that we put the date when the hearing was originally opened
Absolutely.
on each of these continuations.
Sure.
That way we can see how long they're aging.
That makes total sense.
And then so let's you and I beat up Julian about making sure that this is right.
Okay.
So that it makes sense to continue. Because
Right.
I don't mind continuing. I don't mind holding on to it as long as it makes sense. But if it doesn't make sense, let's not. You're exactly right. We should not hold on to it forever.
Yeah, I know we had a similar issue last year with another one of their projects, and it just didn't go anywhere, and we ended up just closing it out and saying, come back fresh with it.
Yeah, that was all estates business.
Yeah, the amended NOI and stuff like that. Okay, I will make a note to myself to communicate with him about that.
So this is basically May, June, the end of 3 months.
Yeah.
Or beginning of 4, actually.
Yeah.
So how about, I think I'm just going to suggest to the commission that maybe 4 months is a reasonable limit, the one we're willing to keep it open. And if we don't see active work in that time, that we take a different action then because something else is happening. And I just, again, I don't want to keep stuff hanging on that doesn't serve us any purpose. All right, but for now.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Could Tamika maybe just send me a site map for 0 Maple Ave? Because I don't know exactly where that is.
Yes.
If that's okay, if she can just send me like a locus and say it's here, because I don't know if DCR has any jurisdiction on the lot. I just don't know where it is though, based on the address.
Yeah, that address has caused more than a little consternation in town. It is a development called Maple Hill Estates, and it's I don't even know how to describe it. I've been there a couple times now, but
it's fine. I mean, I don't need it tonight.
Yeah, if she gets the locus, you'll know where it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you, Jen, and send it to you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I would like a motion to continue this for until August 18.
So moved. Second.
We have to fight for the motion in the second. Okay. Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark. Aye. Crane, aye. All right, we are continued, and we are through that. We've already held the vote for the RDA, so we don't have to do anything.
Peter.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me for interrupting. Do we want to circle back and just make the board take their votes for the order of conditions on all of these, and then I can get those wrapped up and sent out to the applicants?
That's true. They are ready. I don't mind doing that at all because we can do them along with the hearings.
Hmm.
So does anyone object to that path? Hearing no objection, I would like a motion to sign the order of conditions for Lot 4 Glenwood Place with the provision that I can sign on behalf of the entire commission.
So moved.
A second.
And that's just with our standard specials, right?
Yes. Well, if that's the motion you want to make, I think that's what makes sense. So yes, so I assume that you're going to amend it with just our special, with it,
Yeah.
just our usual orders of conditions.
Yes.
Okay. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentalucci,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Crane, aye. All righty, let's get through the next one. I'd like the same motion for 44 Woodside Ave, please.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Oh, we have a second. Awesome. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentalucci,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Crane, aye. Excuse me. And finally, let's yet another motion that looks like the others, except for 48 Woodside Ave.
So moved.
A second.
Oh, it's funny when everybody talks on each other.
It's
Okay.
just so difficult.
Yes. Yes, it is. Cannon,
Aye.
Danza,
Aye.
Gentalucci,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Crane, aye. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm actually doing every motion in the same order tonight.
It's good. I'm not getting confused.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I'm super impressed, Peter. It keeps me ready.
All right, so we've done the RDA. So it must be time to discuss 40 Prescott Ave. So we see another guest here. I'm going to unmute the telephone number 903-497-0776 as soon as I can find the right button. Would you please identify yourself for us?
This is Mary Moody.
Mrs. Moody, it's good to hear from you again. Did you have a nice vacation?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. All right. So before I ask you, Ms. Moody, any questions, I'm going to ask the commission, has anyone been by the property recently? And I mean in the last 2 weeks. No.
I drive by it all the time.
You did. Did you notice if the erosion controls were up?
If I remember right, there are hay bales there, and I believe there's a silk fence also up.
Fantastic. I know that the housework was going on. Window replacement, I believe, was one of those things that was happening. Did it look like there was any other work on the property being done, Mr. Cannon?
Say again, please, Peter.
Does it look like there's any other activity on the property?
The grass is going good. There's some plants that are looking good.
Okay. So, Ms. Moody, I'd like you to fill us in on your understanding of what's been done and what is to be done still.
Well, it depends on what you tell me to do and what the scientist you had me hired tells me to do. The scientist told us we were to loom and seed immediately to keep all of the soil in place so there's no erosion going down into the quote-unquote, what are we calling that? I call it my swamp. You guys call it the wetlands. He was out. He went around. He walked it. He took his test. He told us that we had not touched the wetlands at all, and he had it all marked where the wetlands are, and all of that was beyond where the erosion is, where the hay bales and the silt fence is.
Okay.
I had a tree blow down just before this meeting started. That was what prompted everything. It blew right out where the cars would have been parked if it hadn't gotten tangled up with another tree. And that was part of the reason that we cut down all the trees that we cut down. And when the scientist came out, he told me that we did not disturb anything at all towards the wetlands. And he is a scientist who is certified in all 5 New England states and New York. He was to have sent an email to Tamika. I don't know if she received it or not.
Yes, I did receive an email, and Peter, I forwarded that to you in the commission.
What date was that? Again, What did you forward it?
Let me go back and look. Give me 1 second.
Peter, it was July 22nd.
July 20. Oh, there's the infamous July 22nd.
Thanks, Jared.
No problem.
Alrighty, so let me. Oof. Now I'm having troubles working this. Fine, I'll do it this way. That is not what I wanted you to do. I'm just. I see. Oh, there we go. Alrighty, let me zoom in a bit. Oh, there's this 200. Alrighty, let me just put this up on the screen for people to see and get this window out of the way. So, for the record, on dear Conservation Commission, on behalf of Mrs. Mary Moody, we are informing the Commission that all activities as described in the EOC at the location of 40 Prescott Street have ceased since the receipt of the EOC. Okay. The property owner is currently moving forward per the EOC in order to meet the stated goals and objectives of the Commission. We realize there is a date of July 7th to file a restoration plan, which is passed. Unfortunately, given these unprecedented times for which we find ourselves, the timeline was unable to be met as prescribed for a number of reasons, which I hope is understandable to the Commission. I would say, I think we can understand that, yes. Please be assured we intend to meet these obligations and rectify the situation which promulgated this. At this time, our hope is to have the plan submitted to you no later than July 31. Did we receive?
No, this is the only communication I've gotten from him.
Okay, that's fine. Tamika,
he was here. He was here on the 28th. He was here on the 28th and walked the property and marked everything with his flags. And like I said, he took his test, and that's where he marked the things that were in what is now considered wetlands by you. And everything that we have, all of the hay bales, all of the silt fence was prior to where he was marking and where he took all of his tests and determined that that was where the wetlands, quote unquote, started. Okay. He pointed out that we have trees that are partially cut by the beaver and that they are just left that way. They didn't cut them down completely because he said it's been underwater for so long because of what the beaver had previously done that all that is dying and that there's nothing out there now that's it's just a mess. So
okay,
I'm waiting for this final report just like you are.
All right, that's fair. Tamika, I'm going to ask you to send him a friendly reminder email to ask when he believes it will be ready for us.
Sure, I can do that.
And then, do you have Mrs. Moody's email address as well, just so you can copy her on it?
Not specifically Mary. The only email address that I have is from a Catherine Moody. Is that the same one that you'd like me to use, Mary?
Yes, that's mine. The
Okay.
other email that I have, I'm no longer working, and that was my work email address.
Okay, then I'll use this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that you're in the loop along with everyone else for everything we're doing, Mary. In the next 2 weeks, I would like the Commission to go out and visit. I don't want to do a formal site visit for everybody to meet just because of complexities right now. But I'd like you yes?
You'll have to make that arrangement with my son because I will be leaving tomorrow and I will not be back until September.
Oh my. Well, if you wouldn't mind, please sending contact information to Tamika so that we can arrange with him. And there's no need to do it publicly over this, out loud in this public meeting right now. Feel free to send an email to Tamika with that contact information so we can arrange it. Because we want to look and see the wetland scientists' delineation of the wetlands. I'm not saying we're going to argue. We just like to look at them to see if we have any other questions based upon that delineation.
Okay, now what about the tree that blew over today? Do you want to wear hard hats just to leave it the way it is, or do you want me to finish cutting it down? The roots came up out of the ground and it fell into another tree and that's all that's holding it up.
Yeah, no, that is what we would call an emergent situation, and I would personally have no trouble with you taking appropriate action for that now, and just tell us what you did, basically with pictures, if you can.
Okay, I've got pictures of the tree that I took before I left for this meeting, where I left to a safer place. I can send them whenever you want me to. I already sent them actually to Tamika earlier.
Oh, great. Oh, because I did see something about an email that I haven't read yet. Can you tell I don't read all my email always in a timely manner? So, yes, we do not want to leave a dangerous situation that is beyond stupid even for government bodies. So, yes, get it taken care of. Make sure you and your property are safe.
Mary, just to clarify, I didn't get any pictures of today's event. I only got one picture of a barn in the snow.
Okay, that's in the back with what is now water. And that was the only picture that I could find very quickly the last couple of weeks because most of my stuff is packed away. But that was where our barn was that got destroyed again by the beavers because it fell into the nice little wetlands out there.
Right.
So I'll send those back to you again, Tamika, because I took them tonight. When the tree fell over, I was outside and I just about jumped out of my skin because it went crack and snap and then it just fell into the other trees, thank goodness. So we'll take it down tomorrow or the day after.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Mary. Glad you guys are okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
DCR hasn't received a restoration plan either for the part that we have jurisdiction on. So he can forward that to us also.
Okay.
Yep.
And is Tamika going to forward it to you, or do you want me to have Chris forward it to you?
No, Jen, I can include you on my communication with him, and then that way you'll just be in the loop.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
We're on the same page as the commission, so that we have one restoration that will happen.
That sounds great. So we are waiting for the plan. So, Jen, what do you think about the seed approach at first glance without seeing a formal plan?
That was for the grass for us to, he told us to put down lots of lime because it was so acidy from the pine trees. And then he told us to put down the loam and to seed it and seed it and seed it so that it could start as soon as possible so it will stop the erosion, because there is right now, from all the rain we've had for the last few days, it's really running down the side of the hill.
Yeah, well, we were hoping to get a restoration plan, a couple of weeks ago, but at this point with it being so dry and then I don't know what you want to call it, catastrophic weather. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but we're waiting for a final restoration plan with what plants.
Well, he told us that we should go ahead and do the grass, and then he is going to give us the buffer zone that he wanted us to leave and plant the plants that he was suggesting that we put to make everybody happy.
Okay, yeah, so we would want to see that restoration plan prior to it being planted, but I mean, I'm not going to object to
Right, but I mean, the grass I can go ahead and plant like we were.
I really can't say without consulting a couple other people at my office, but I would, whatever it takes to kind of stop the erosion would be the best. We don't want anything in the drinking water, so.
Melissa, I know you dropped off for a little bit. Do you have any comment on what you have heard?
I guess I just kind of double up on Jennifer's comments in that, our goal was to see the restoration plan before any of that work was done, so that we can look over the plants and whether it's a specific seed mix as well. I know that's kind of a good point, that I'd want to make sure that a relevant seed mix is used for the grass that you're putting down. And then what was my other comment? Oh, and just to clarify, I guess there's I think a difference in what kind of our jurisdiction is versus what maybe you're under the impression our jurisdiction is. So our jurisdiction just doesn't end at the wetland edge. We actually have 100 feet from that wetland edge. So all the work that's been done, you know, is what we call in the buffer zone, and that's kind of a big concern to us as well, you know, hence the restoration.
Well, all that 100 feet encompasses my whole entire, what's left of my property that's mine, that I can live on.
Right. So to do that kind of extensive, you know, work or ground disturbance, we really need to be a part of and permitting, you know, if you're going to be doing a lot of grading or tree clearing. You know, there are certain exemptions for hazard trees, I think, that we kind of discussed, that obviously we want you and your family to be safe. And there's kind of those emergency exemptions. But in the long term, you know, we want to make sure that the integrity of the site and erosion is controlled in an adequate manner, you know, moving forward.
Yeah, I would double on that. Our jurisdiction is 400 feet from the stream and the pond. The first 200 feet is where we typically don't allow any disturbance. Obviously, a house in existence, you know, prior to the Cohen Act, the yard and the house, but to extend that right to this, to clear right to the stream bank is where we, you know, would want us what we call either an advisory ruling or a determination to be sent in. So we're looking for a restoration plan. And I think Alan and I, when we were out there, I thought we kind of clarified what we were looking for, which is maybe a little bit less than what the commission might be looking for, because we're focused solely on drinking water. And not
right. And Chris is completely, totally aware of that. He has your information to send his plan to you. I have some of the blueberry bushes like you and I had discussed, and we're waiting for him to tell us the rest of the things that we should do on the side of the pond that is away from the house and the stream, as you're talking about. That is all covered in ferns now. We haven't touched anything. And on our side, we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything except spread the loom that we already had in the side yard when you were there. And now he's telling us we should be spreading the rest of the loom and getting my backyard back to what it used to be, as well as the side yard, getting that reloomed and seeded so that it's just a disaster over there right now from the last 2 rainstorms.
I'll defer to the commission on whether or not they want the loom it seeded. You know, ideally closest to the stream, we would want more of a natural vegetation than grass, but you know, whatever the commission wants to stabilize it, you know.
By the stream, it's all natural vegetation. It's all the ferns and everything that were always there. Never mind. Just.
Right. So to be clear, the thing that's holding us up right now is the restoration plan. So we need to get that from him as soon as possible. And I hate to hold things up more and say you can't loom and seed, but my problem is we basically have to talk about the seed mix that you're talking about, that he's thinking about having you put in. And to give blanket approval without that information is, I wouldn't call it reckless.
Okay, but are you telling me not to plant regular grass and mow my grass?
I don't think we're necessarily saying don't plant regular grass, but there are some tricky seed mixes out there that actually have a lot of invasive or non-native grasses that, for that close to the wetland edge, we may not like that to then dominate that area. And then, you know, it's just kind of the rate in which you're applying, or, you know, kind of what the final outcome of that area we want. You know, we want to make sure that we are looking at that closely, you know, because of the proximity. And then, you know, just, I think the common order of things is we have this restoration plan. Yes, you stabilize in the meantime, but that could be other forms of erosion control, such as like woven erosion control blankets that can be put down. You know, are kind of like staked into the ground that kind of holds the slope back. So there are some other, you know, methods that you could also use in the meantime, you know, while we review the restoration plan, both ourselves and DCR.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't think there's anything for us to move on and take action on tonight. So we'll just keep this on the agenda and hope that we get a restoration plan in the next couple of weeks so we can discuss it at the next meeting.
And when is your next meeting?
It is August 18th.
Okay. And it does it start at 6 or 7?
We start at 6 o'clock now.
All right.
I would advise you look at the agenda to see what sort of hearings there are, because we always do hearings before we do these other discussions. So I'm not going to say don't tune in at 6. I'm going to say if we have lots of hearings, they're going to be later than 6 o'clock.
Okay, just that I'm not going to be anywhere in this time zone, so I just want to know about what time I'm looking at. So I'll just hit.
All right. Anything else before we move on? Ms. Moody, thanks for coming in. So let's move on now to 136 Maple Ave. Okay, so this is the forested lot that had, let me think about how do I want to say this. They had the forester come in and cut down trees that harmed a culvert, crushed a culvert, and as a result of that, there's flooding on the adjacent property, but the house was foreclosed on and is now owned by a bank. And I think we tried to reach out to the forester, but I don't remember how that went.
I remember him like responding to us, but Tamika, do you remember how that like ended? Did we send him something and he just stopped, or did we just not really?
When I looked at, I sent you guys the minutes, and I'm trying to remember specifically what it said, but I think we deferred to the DEP on this situation because it was kind of, we figured with the house being bank owned, and we weren't even really sure if it was within our jurisdiction, so we referred it to the DEP, and then I know it recently came back up for Peter where Denise wanted you to get back involved again.
Yeah, let me pull up her email.
Yeah, I think the minutes were October of 2019, so I think this happened back in the fall.
Right, so let me go back first.
Yeah, because I remember us getting an email from the forester, the silky guy.
I do too.
I just don't remember if we like sent him something in follow up for him to get back to us with, or if we did and he just kind of dropped the ball.
Let me see if I have it.
So Denise's email says, it sounds like DCR has had no luck with the logger.
The last email that I have from him was back in November, and it was left that I said, thank you for reaching out. The board is aware of the issue as it was brought to us by the DCR, and it was supposed to have been Joe that was reaching out to him. Oh. And that was the last email communication that I have from him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it may have just fallen through the cracks.
I think it just fell through. Okay.
Yep.
Let's, I'm going to ask you, Tamika, to at least fire up communications with the logger again.
Sure.
So we can at least come to a rational conclusion in this. Okay. Sooner rather than later.
Sure. What would you specifically like me to ask of him?
Well, that's a great question.
I think maybe just following up and saying, we've been, just to follow up on this, regarding the culvert, what are your plans, if any, to go back and rectify the issue? The commission is considering enforcement action because it is a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act, and the issue kind of needs to be rectified.
Okay.
Although I don't know if that's like too intense that he'll just never respond again, but.
Well, I was going to say, do you want me to send it as an email, or do you want me to send it as a letter from the commission signed by Peter? Which would you guys prefer?
I might start with an email because he respond to that first. So
okay.
Yeah, let's keep it kind of friendly for now. Because we don't have, he hasn't done anything to make us warrant a nastygram.
Sure. I can do that.
Yeah, just say we're trying to work, you know, cooperatively in getting this fixed to mitigate any flooding and, you know, WPA violations.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe instead of, yeah, enforcement action, saying we're trying to help mitigate the
Yeah.
residual impacts.
Sure. Would it be appropriate to say that, you know, the DEP is also, you know, asking, because that's what it was, the DEP, right? Not DCR that this time around.
Yes, this time it was DEP, but let's not bring them in.
Don't bring it in. Okay.
Let's keep it friendly and just amongst us nice folks and figure out that there's an easy way to solve this, we hope.
Okay.
So Tamika, I'm also going to ask you to write a fast email. Did I forward this email to you that I got from Denise?
No, I don't have that.
All right, let me forward this to you so you can take it. In fact, heck, I'll just forward to the whole darn commission.
So you just want me to respond to Denise and let her know that I'm going to reach out to the forester?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right. We are hoping to avoid needing to send to start an enforcement action. We're trying to reach accommodation with the forester, who we believe was the source of the problem.
Okay.
And mentioning that the house is in foreclosure and owned by a bank, and we don't expect great cooperation from them. Or
okay.
Nice words like that to Denise. She'll understand.
Yeah, I'll word it.
Okay. Anything else on 136 Maple? Moving on. 64A Charnock Hill Road. I'm surprised we don't have a guest here tonight.
Peter,
Yeah.
if I may, so I had initially received the contact from Mr. Marinelli because he was advised by his neighbors he may need to file something. He asked if he could speak with somebody ahead of the meeting to just ask a couple general questions, and I advised him to reach out to you via email. He wanted your phone number. I explained I wasn't going to provide that, but he could work with you on that. So I don't know if you ever heard from him.
I, in fact, did get email from him that I haven't even read yet. I mean, I glanced at it quickly enough to say, oh, gosh, wetland stuff, swimming pool, okay. But I also didn't want to have an ex parte discussion without the whole commission.
Yeah, and I did invite him to the meeting, so I'm not sure what happened.
Okay. Now, the backstory on this is a little convoluted because, as I understand it, it started with him trying to do a swimming pool without a permit. That's what I think I remember about this lot. But he did talk to people who said he probably has a wetlands problem and it needs to come before us.
Well, no, because if I remember, he actually said that, is it this one where he said he didn't have, no, I might be confusing it with somebody else that he said, let me just see. I apologize. I'm just looking through the emails right now. I'm not 100. He said, I'm not 100% sure that the pool installation would violate any conservation laws, but before pulling the permit, I needed to ask a few questions and have somebody come to assess the property to see where the wetlands actually are. I've had neighbors have a committee member come down to see if there was a need to file any special permits. In my case, the pool is in my yard outside the conservation area and just wanted some clarification on this matter.
Okay.
And he's at 64A Charnock Hill Road.
Yes, I actually have the GIS map up for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was over in my email.
That's okay. And let me get my cursor. So obviously we have a house and we have a wetland. And if I just draw a fast line, okay, if I didn't have this window in the way, click here, and if I just pick that spot, to his house, well, that's 170 feet. So if the intent is to put the house fairly well anywhere near the pool, anywhere near his house, I don't see a problem. I think the biggest problem would be, here, let me clear and start again, because the distance from the map wetland to the property is 53 feet, but he's not going to put it in this back corner. He's going to put it, I can only believe, close to his house. The exact location is a fair question.
I just went back through the emails with him, and he does not specifically note where he was going to put the pool.
Okay, that's good to know. Since he's already reached out to email to me and I've ignored him for a week, I will reach out to him this week to start the ball rolling to say, look, if you put in this area, you're outside our jurisdiction. If you're looking for us to tell you where the wetlands are, that is not our place. That's for a wetland scientist to determine. But it's not on his property. So I don't know what the wetland scientist would do if the scientist would just get permission to go and find the edge of the wetland, or if he'd just take the mapped wetland anyway. Who dropped? Oh, I think Jen dropped. Okay. So I'll give
Wasn't me this time.
la 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 la. So I'll talk to him. I'll give him a little bit of advice about where to put the pool so he doesn't run into our problems, and we can see if he wants to put it there or if he wants to put it somewhere else. I happen to think, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to put it far away from the house to me, but maybe there's a reason for it that I don't know. So if he does put it in the back corner, he's going to have to file. Melissa, I know that accessory structures have a 50-foot, not the 100-foot.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think a pool is an accessory structure, is it?
You know, it's kind of funny because sometimes they do list pools, but I think of accessory pools as like a smaller above ground, temporary. But if it's in ground, I do not consider that accessory structure.
Okay. I didn't think of a pool as an accessory, so we'll see. But
yeah,
again,
I mean,
so I'm just trying, again, when I'm trying to guide him, I want to make sure that he knows.
Right. I mean, if anything else, I think an RDA wouldn't hurt once he has the location of the plan. If it is a little bit further back, it's probably far enough that no matter what, it's not a lot of heavy lifting for that type of application. So.
Right.
Peter, I was just looking up under the WPA.
Yes.
And it says the conversion of lawn to use as accessory to residential structures such as decks.
Yeah, it says pool.
Patios, pools. It does say pools. And if it's more than 50 feet from bank, BVW, whichever is closest, then it's exempt.
Okay, that's actually very good information because that tells us what the limit is.
Yeah. But I always follow the if it's an in-ground, it's not falls under that exemption for me.
Well, that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah. It says pools, it does not say above ground or in ground.
Yeah.
But we also
there's like a threshold of size. I feel like, at least in mine, when I look at them, like if it's a massive above ground, then there's kind of more than accessory use than a little deck would be.
Right, because at the end of the day, if you think about a shed going on, there's going to be very little land disturbance for a shed, and a not terribly large above ground pool is not going to have, all the things being equal, a lot of disturbance. There's no question that an in-ground pool has disturbance, and a very large pool is going to naturally have more disturbance. So
I think the other thing we can let the homeowner know is that, again, going back to the Wetlands Protection Act, that exemption applies if proper erosion and sediment controls are implemented during the work. And let me just read this again. I think that was really the main piece, is that is part of that exemption, is that if you're not doing that, the way I read it at least, if you're not doing that, then you may not necessarily be exempt.
Okay.
So you do have to also provide proper erosion sediment controls to protect that resource area. But if everything's outside at least 50 feet from the resource area, including staging, stockpiling, any disturbance, if it's at least 50 feet and an inch or more, and you do your proper erosion sediment controls, I think they would be exempt from a filing.
I think I'd want to know what kind the pool is and how large it's going to be in order for us to make a proper determination if we believe that it is in fact accessory.
Yep. And we're also basing this off of GIS wetland lines.
Yes.
We don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It could be right. It may not be. We don't know.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of that. And but I'm going to go with, even if it's moved from this line some, even if it moved closer to the house, this spot is so far away from the wetlands that we can't possibly have jurisdiction unless something dramatic happened here.
Right.
So I'll have a conversation, an email conversation, to say, basically these are our questions that are going to determine what we think the appropriate standard is. Okay. All right. Other questions or comments on this matter? Okay. So we've already done the reorganization. Maple Ave parking lot. Did I forward? So,
I sent everybody the email yesterday.
Good for me. So, to give a backstory, I was at the post office the week before, and I noticed that someone was doing a whole lot of work on the strip of land between the parking lot, upland, and the post office parking lot. I thought, that's strange, but okay. Last week, the DPW director sent an email to a number of department heads saying, this is what we've done. This is why. I sent that out to you all, so I don't need to read it here. I did look on the maps. There is nothing wetlandish anywhere near where he's doing work. It's on the opposite side of Maple Ave. The nearest one is on the opposite side of Maple Ave. And even then, it's not abutting Maple Ave. It's at least one property deep, and two maybe. So I concurred that there were no wetlands issues, and he didn't need to do anything with Conservation Commission. Thank you for at least letting us know. So I just wanted everybody to be informed about this, so you're not surprised if somebody asks. I do know that I was asked once, saying, what's going on there? Because, Peter knows everything.
Peter, I noticed yesterday that the town posted it on their Facebook page.
Yes.
What's going on up there? Because I think a lot of people have been asking.
Oh, people, in fact, shortly after I told my wife about it, she said, hey, I just saw that on Facebook. She reads Facebook, me, not so much. So anyway, I just wanted to keep everybody informed as to what that is. And it really, really has nothing to do with us, but they were nice enough to include us in the information, so I passed it on to you guys.
Hey, Peter, could we maybe just suggest not using hay to throw down?
Oh, details.
I know, but it gets me.
Good point. I'll forward that suggestion on to Joe, and I'll see if it's still even down, because he may be done by now.
Yeah, I know. I haven't driven past there this week, so.
Okay. Awesome. Is there any other business before the board tonight? Hearing none, you all know what motion I want to hear now. All right, roll call vote. Cannon.
I'd like to make a motion that we formally tell Tamika happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary!
Oh, thanks, Billy.
I'd also like to make a motion that we quit the meeting.
Yep. I would call it a motion in the second and a third. All in favor, Cannon.
Aye.
Danza.
Aye.
Gentilucci.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Murphy.
We were a rowdy group tonight, huh?
Yes, we were.
Make sure you get everything in the minutes, please.
I will.
I'd like a transcript this time, please.
Sure, why not? Might as well.
Crane, aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.